So we heard briefly here from some new friends, but I would now like to welcome a longtime champion of industry and innovation to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Upstairs. So when I got into this business of blockchain policy 6.5 years ago, maybe 7, we didn't have a lot of friends. And we certainly weren't as cool as we are today as an industry by far. But Tom Emmer already knew everything there was there that any member of Congress we would ever want to know. He took a tremendous amount of time, long before the Blockchain Association existed, long before I was in this space, to do this. And so every year we like to provide an award. And so this year's Crypto Champion Award goes to Majority Whip Tom Emmer.
Wow.
So thank you.
Wow.
Look at that.
Hey. Thank you.
It would be fancier, but they don't let us buy you anything fancier. So, we're gonna invite him to make a couple brief remarks, and then we will sit down shortly for some Q&A.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Sounds good. First off, let's hear it for Kristin Smith and the Blockchain Association. Thank you. Great work, and you've been a great friend. I want to thank you for the invitation, and along with the Blockchain Association, Kristin, this gala is always a remarkable occasion, but there has never been a more thrilling time in the history of crypto for us all to come together at this very moment. We have a lot of winning to celebrate. That's okay, you should be excited. Come on, step into the locker room with me. We're all gonna get laced up and we're gonna go out and we're gonna continue to win. In the past 4 years, the crypto community has won in the courts. You've won in the election, and you've won on policy. The winning has just begun. Keep in mind, and this is why it's so wonderful when Kristin's introducing the wide variety of very talented legislators and representatives-elect that were here tonight, crypto is nonpartisan. All technology is nonpartisan, and I really am always going to stand by that. But most significantly, perhaps, is that you've proven that the Warren Gensler strategy is a losing game, and in doing that, you've made crypto more bipartisan than ever. You know, Gary Gensler just never gets old, does it? Bye-bye, Gary. This is all because of many years of hard work, determination, and persistence, even in the face of crisis, and it certainly has paid off. Crypto and blockchain technology define our freedom in this country. Nonetheless, the Biden administration has weaponized the banks against you. They've weaponized the media against you, and they've weaponized their executive authorities against you and against the American people. This will soon come to an end, but we have a lot more work to do. You saw the video. We're turning over a new page, in the words of a certain vice presidential candidate from Minnesota, or maybe it was his wife, I guess. President Trump is building an impressive team around him, team of leaders who are smart on innovation and economic opportunity, with Paul Atkins at the SEC, Scott Bessent at Treasury, and David Sachs as our crypto czar. Come on, we got a crypto czar. This administration is ready to work with Congress to create the much-needed statutory regulation this industry has been begging for. We will not only end Operation Choke Point 2.0, but we will investigate it and hold its perpetrators accountable so we can clean up the bureaucracy that should be working for the American people, not against them. In doing all of this, we will finally unleash the American innovation and excellence that has been trapped by our regulatory apparatus for years. Thank you again for your partnership over the past 9 years with my office and with our committee. Our work here is nowhere near done, but we've now hit the right stride, and I'm excited to see all that we're going to accomplish in the 119th Congress. And with that, Kristin, I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Tempted to okay, there we go. I'm very tempted to quit while we're ahead, but we're gonna do an abbreviated version of this because, like, that was so amazing. I would love to hear. You've been a huge advocate for this being a nonpartisan issue and a nonpartisan technology. What is the pathway forward next year? Because you have been appropriately trying to figure out what is the right role for the SEC, the CFTC, and others. We're in a new environment now. The industry is not going to be in the same sort of crouch defensive position. What is the path forward, and what is the right role for Congress?
Well, it's time to lead in, and Congress needs to lead. This is something that's been so desperately needed for years. Unfortunately, it's taken Congress a while to catch up with all of you. And I'm not going to tell you we're there yet, but we have made huge progress. You have made huge progress over the last 8 years. Just think of it. When I started 9 years ago, Kristin, there were 4 of us. There were 4 of us that were going to the blockchain caucus meetings, and it was like, I was going to tease one of my colleagues who writes code, and he also speaks in code. So that was the issue, right? That you gotta make this more exciting. You gotta tell people why it's so important. It's about the innovation. It's about the growing wealth in this country and opportunity. But more importantly, for me, it was about freedom. Our financial industry, the existing and the new age of finance, which is based on blockchain technology and crypto, stablecoin, all of it, that is the definition of our freedom. We are unlike anywhere else in the world. This is a place where anyone, from wherever they come from whatever challenges they've had as a young person growing up in this country, can succeed beyond their wildest dreams. That's what you guys are all about. So what's going to happen? Congress is going to have to lean in. And I, for one, I got a lot of great colleagues here, but I'll give you my perspective. We got to stop writing the legislation from Washington out to Main Street. We've got too many people embedded in this swamp that want to write bills that literally are beneficial to the Treasury, to the SEC, to the FDIC. It's time that we start writing the bills from the people, the innovators that are working on Main Street to grow opportunities to government and restore this balance where government actually serves the people. But watch, I think you're going to see some, you got a president who's all in. He's put the people around him, and hopefully some more of you are going to be part of this administration. They're forward-looking, they're forward-thinking. This is 21st century finance, and they want this country to be at the forefront. So look for 2 important things next year. Probably a regulatory framework that we were working on this past Congress. Watch that move again in this coming Congress. And then I think you're going to see stable coin legislation, dollar-backed stable coins, and other stuff that are going to put the United States of America, again, back at the forefront when it comes to this innovation in this great space.
So crypto had a really important... I know. I mean, can't they all be Tom Emmer? Sorry,
Kristin. I tend to suck the air out of the room. I apologize.
No, that's why we're abbreviating this. So crypto had a huge milestone this year, and it's the very first time one of our currencies got a federal department named after them, Doge. The Department of Government Efficiency, which is really more of like a blue ribbon commission, but we're going to give it the full department. Is that going to work? Is that doable? I mean, I worked on the Hill for 10 years. I worked for an appropriator. I always thought it was virtually impossible to defund anything or to cut back agencies. Is there an opportunity there for crypto, or is this...
Oh, there's a huge opportunity.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And by the way, the experience on the Hill, God bless you and everybody else who's been in this town. learning it and running it. But some of us, I'm still from Main Street, Minnesota. I think that's more important than downtown or the District of Columbia, quite frankly. No offense to people that call this their home, but we need to keep in mind that this innovation is about the people, not about Washington D.C. So you say, can you change it? Well, if you don't think you can, you won't. And if you think you're going to do it with people that actually broke it, that's not going to work either. And Donald Trump is bringing people in. You look at his cabinet picks, he's bringing people from the outside. It's time to start thinking a new way. And don't be afraid of it. Change is great. You guys are the poster child of change. This is the future. The future has arrived. And if we don't do it, well, then we're going to be, our kids and our grandkids are not going to have the experience to chase the American dream that we have. So is there an opportunity? Yes. The country's counting on us. Our kids are depending on us. We'd have to do it this time.
So you've got like an extra cool job now because you're like the number 3, you're the whip. That sounds kind of cool. But you're still like, on your off days on the House Financial Services Committee, which is hugely important. French Hill, is he going to help us out? We got a buddy?
French Hill's going to be great, but look, we have an embarrassment of riches, right? Whether it's Bill Huizenga, who's done every committee, subcommittee, and the committee, whether it's Andy Barr, whether it's Frank Lucas, who he's forgotten more than a lot of us are going to know about this institution and how it works. We just have an embarrassment of riches, and that's just on our side. The Democrats also have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to this industry and what we're going to try to do on financial services. The leadership that people like Richie Torres and others have been showing over the past several years, Wiley Nickel, who left, it's very impressive. So French is going to be the guy, and I think it's going to be a great time for the industry in the 119th Congress.
So we're like a little itty bit worried that like the IRS or the SEC or others might try to jam through some midnight rules, which, would be problematic for the industry. I was really encouraged this past year in the spring when both in the House and the Senate we had the rules to undo the SAB 121 guidance with the Congressional Review Act. Do you think that the House is going to be using that as a mechanism to roll back anything related to crypto or otherwise in the first 100 days?
We will. We'll definitely be using that. But it's going to be more than that. You have to restore an appropriations process, a budget process that we haven't seen in this town for 30 years. You have to literally go at some of these agencies that have literally been weaponized against the people they're supposed to serve, and you gotta start taking their money away. You have to hold them accountable. You have to defund them when they're not meeting the mission that they were created for. Congress has been asleep at the wheel for 30 years now, and because of that, the imperial presidency gets stronger and stronger every year. Republicans, Democrats make law by signing, the executive signs the executive orders. That's gotta change. We gotta get back to a day when Congress did its work, where we had the oversight, we had the accountability, and again, if you're doing the job, you get funded. If you're not doing the job, you don't have any funds, and that's the way it should work.
I like it. All right, final question. We have a bunch of people who work in the crypto industry, along with a few friends in the room tonight. What's your word of advice so that we don't miss the opportunity we have in this incredibly special moment that we're experiencing politically right now?
Well, I would say this group, and by the way, when she said this is the final question, I thought that was going to get a standing ovation.
No, everybody loves you.
This is there we go in the back. This is your time. You've already shown that you were the most influential industry in the election in this past year.
Thanks, Mike and Bobby.
Yeah, fair shake. You did a hell of a job. Obviously, the whole ecosystem is important, but you were the new kids on the block, and you came in and you made a statement. We've been telling you for years, or we've been telling this industry, it's not a partisan issue. You need people who support the innovation that you stand for. You guys showed up, and that's what you elected. You now have an opportunity to go the next mile, so don't take your foot off the gas. Now is the time to double down and make sure that all of us are moving in the right direction so that when we're done with the 119th, it's only just begun. Everything is on the rise, and we're going to go to 120th and keep right on going, and this industry is going to lead the way in this country when we grow that pie, that prosperity pie for everybody. You guys are going to be the reason why.
Let's give a standing ovation to Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Thank you for being our friend before it was cool.